Hello,
My name's Gordon from Redesign.
and I'm Taylor from The Creative Tinker.
And welcome to This Week with Taylor and Gordon, a weekly podcast and vidcast where we talk about things that have affected our businesses over the last 7 days. And thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome back.
It was a hot middle of the week, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, really high. Anyway, let's see. What news is there, first of all? Anything in your side?
Nothing I can think of.
No? Okay. Let's get straight into our topics then. Would you like to go first or shall I?
I'll go first this week.
Off you go.
So this week I wanted to talk about a unified calendar. So I've had this idea for quite a while now. When you use a booking system or you share your calendar with people, you sometimes have multiple different calendars. You may split it out for your work, your personal. You may have, you have your bookings, and it can get kind of difficult to manage. And kind of, if you wanted to share that with one person, you've got to share 3 different calendars. And we also have this issue where we share our calendars with each other. You, Mum and I all have each other on our calendars so we can see what that person is doing, if they're busy or if they're in a show, if we try to get hold of them, for example. And the issue that we have is that we have a Taylor calendar, the Creative Tinker calendar, a Claire calendar, a Gordon calendar, a bookings calendar, a Taylor and Gordon calendar, and a family calendar. So there's lots of different calendars. Now we set up Taylor and Gordon because we ended up doing a lot of things together, and it was just easier to have it in a single calendar. And the reason we had to do this was because if I added the event to the calendar, it showed on mine. Brilliant. If you added the event to calendar, it also showed on my calendar. And so we end up having duplicate entries of the exact same thing, and it just becomes messy. You can't really see, and it looks like you've got overlapping things when they're actually the exact same event. So we set this up, but then we have the family calendar, which is sometimes confusing because sometimes it can be all 3 of us. Sometimes it can just be you and Mum. And so it was always difficult for me to know, is that a family event, as in like I'm going as well, or is that a family as in you and Mum? And so I've always wanted this idea of being able to invite and use the default invitations that events have and calendar events have to invite you. But like we mentioned before, it then shows up as duplicates because we share the calendar with each other. So I had this idea where if I created a custom calendar that merged all of my different calendar events, but if the person that I was sharing this custom subscribe link with had the email address inside of that event, it would automatically hide it. And the idea means that if I invite you to a calendar event, you're going to be able to accept that in your calendar. Brilliant. But you then won't see that same event in my calendar because you already have it logged in yours. And so it means that all 3 of us can now invite each other as events, to events, if it's all 3 of us, or if it's just 1 of us or 2 of us, and we can make sure that we don't get duplicates across all 3 calendars. Because you can imagine if all 3 of us had invites, then we'd be having 3 events.
Well, that's sort of why we created the family one. Because in my head, when I created that, it was something everyone was doing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out that way.
And so that was kind of a solution that I had come up with, which I've had, like I said, I've had for a long time, but never really been able to figure out how to get it to work in a way that made sense, especially with syncing and stuff like that. It can't be too long. If someone adds something, ideally wants to go in there within 10 minutes or so. But the other feature was, like I mentioned earlier, was the booking calendars, is that we can now create custom calendars that we can share with people, or we can use in a booking system and only have one calendar connection that it's going to check. And it's going to check all of my calendar events or all of your calendar events or whatever, rather than having 5 different calendars separated. So that's been what I've been kind of working on. It's been really fun, kind of exploring how to integrate this. Because we don't use Google, we don't get the luxury of the nice Google Calendar APIs, which are a lot more modern and user-friendly than CalDev, which is what Apple uses under the hood.
There is one issue that I've just thought of while you were talking, and that is I quite like making notes in my calendar entries. So, if I'm if there's a reference number, if there's a seat number, whatever it happens to be, I like to make notes in the calendar entry, or I like to drag like a PDF of the ticket. If it's a show or something, I like to drag that in. And if you've created the event and invite me, I'm now subscribed to your calendar to see it. I don't now have the option to put any further details into that event.
No, but you can just message me and ask if you can add it.
I was more considering this if somebody was going to use this as a sort of a company solution, for example. The person whose calendar it is the one that has the control over what goes into that event.
Yeah.
So yeah. You're right. I could email you and send you over any details I want. It's just extra work for you, then, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think for me, we don't go that often to somewhere that needs to be added. And if it is that the case, then you can create the event and you can manage the event. That doesn't bother me. I'll store any notes I need somewhere else. That's fine.
Well, they should be in the event itself, because probably any notes that you would want to make, I've probably already done. So, for example, we're going to the theatre. So you've booked the tickets. So you need to create the event and then drag the tickets into it so that they're there. I do like the idea of having the information to hand when I need it. So if I'm at an event and I need a ticket, I'll know I probably put the ticket into the event. For example, we've booked our holiday now, me and my partner. And so this afternoon I spent a little bit of time going through and putting it all in the diary and putting the sort of the schedule of events as a PDF in and making sure all the times are correct. And we've got private transfer from the airport to the hotel and then from the hotel back to the airport again. So I put them in separately with the reference numbers. And I feel it's important to do that. Also, the time zone as well, which is way above me. I don't know quite how someone's figured all that out. Because when you've got a leaving time and an arrival time, and they're both in two different time zones, that gets really confusing. Yeah, so I've done all that today, and it makes a difference because I now don't have to worry. I will print out the PDF and I'll take it with me, but I don't have to now worry about having the tickets with me or making sure I've got the boarding passes or whatever, because they're all on the data in the notes area of the event, which is where they would be if you went looking for them, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so this system's up and running?
No, I got a proof of concept working, but I am still working on my kind of little control panel for all my small APIs and stuff, which will be integrated into that.
Very good. Today, my topic is about Home Assistant. Now, we've spoken about Home Assistant quite a lot, and just recently, my Busy Bar arrived on Monday, in fact. Yours didn't arrive till Wednesday, though, which is weird because you paid extra to have it on 24-hour delivery, and I had on the free 48-hour delivery, and my one turned up 2 days before you, which is very odd. But anyway, I've had time to play with it a little bit this week, and I've been creating a few notifications so that the Busy Bar will be notified and show me a note on the screen if something happens, and that's been working very well.
Nice.
That's coming from Home Assistant, and I've got the Alexas in our house all rigged up as well. So if, for example, the washing machine or the tumble dryer finish, then Alexa will notify us by announcing it. But if you're upstairs having a shower, you may not hear that. You won't be able to hear the notification, and it only gets played once. So by having a screen that shows me like the last notification, if you like, that's really helpful to me, because I can then come down and make sure I haven't missed anything. So that's going to be one of the things I'm going to use it for. The other thing that I liked when I purchased it was the fact you can write apps for the device and you can build them in. So you can have, for example, I'm pretty sure you can do this, like a FaceTime, not a FaceTime, a Facebook fan page or group, and you can display how many people are in that group or how many followers you have, and that sort of thing should be pretty easy to do.
Okay.
Especially programming it with AI. However, the SDK doesn't appear to be available yet. So this device is only recently gone on sale, and it's saying coming soon. So, I am ready to do that. I'd like to do that. I don't want to do that through Home Assistant, because then it's an extra burden for Home Assistant, which I don't want. But it got me thinking, if I'm starting to use this as a sort of an external output device, then all of the Home Assistant devices I have in my house, I've sort of added a integration to it within the dashboard and plonked it onto the dashboard and walked away. So my dashboard is now a real mess, and it's something that I've always looked at and gone, oh, I really should sort that out. I should make it much better and easier to use and to find the information I need. And, I know what everything is because I put it there, but, it might take, 4 clicks to find that information, whereas, there's better ways of organizing it. Plus, it doesn't look particularly good because there seems to be lots of different styles going on. Basically because I thought, oh, that would look nice, I'll do that. And then previous ones that I had haven't got that style, and some cards that I'm using that have specific functionality don't have the ability to have that style, and so on and so forth. So I have started, and it's going to be a big job, but I've started to look into this, and I've decided I'm going to use a dashboard style called Prism, which is a bit like Glassmorphic, I think is the word.
Okay.
Which is sort of nice because it matches similar styles to Apple iPhones and also Apple Macs. So it's sort of keeping it within the sort of style I'm used to during the day. And it's quite nice. I've also gone dark theme for the time being,
okay,
to see how that works. But I'm going to build this dashboard out with dark or light theme capabilities so that I can change it if I want to.
Okay.
So far I've got a presence sensor which basically tells me who's at home and who isn't at home, and I've had this for a long time, and it had a little green round circle with a black sort of face in the middle as a silhouette if someone was at home, and a red one if they were away. That's been working fine.
Yeah.
But today I decided to change that slightly, and I now have a thumbnail of each person. There's 4 people. So if Taylor comes to visit, it will tell me when he's with us. So it now has their actual picture in there, which is lovely. And I decided, instead of having a green, so putting the headshot in means I was going over the red or the green bits, and now I needed another way to know if someone was home or away.
Yeah.
And so I've now got a green sort of border with a little gap around the headshot, which is circular, to tell me if they're at home, and it says home underneath, and a red one around it if they're away, and it says away underneath. And I decided if people were away that I would bring the opacity down to about 60% on the photo, so that they're sort of, again, they're slightly, they're not as bright and colourful as they should be because they're not there. So it's another indication.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to do is anything you can click on, when your mouse hovers over it, it should just grow ever so slightly, because that's a real nice indication that it's something you can actually click on, because sometimes you just have informational cards and you can't click on them. So anything you can click on that's a button, basically,
Okay.
I'm making into a little animation. But now my big job is to figure out how I'm going to organize all the content, because there's a lot of content there and I keep adding to it. I've just added a waste disposal service integration, which will basically tell me which bins need to go out and when. So because I missed it last week because my partner Claire has been away and I was out, and our bins go out on Monday night so that they can be collected on the Tuesday. And as I was driving out of the driveway on Tuesday, the binman came in. I hadn't done anything with the bins, so I completely forgot about it. So I didn't want to do that again. So I'm going to make sure that I set up this integration so that it will tell me on Home Assistant that the bins are due, when they're due, and which ones. And I'll also probably use the busy bar just to remind me on, Monday night, are the bins out? ? And then if they are, I can just cancel it. And if they're not, I can go do it, which is great. That's the sort of thing that makes your life a little bit easier, doesn't it? You haven't got to remember anymore. So yeah, lots of organising to do. I'm sure we'll come back to this because there's lots of decisions to be made. You started getting everything with your Home Assistant sorted. How far did you get with it?
I didn't. I mean, I have stuff connected, but I don't really have many automations or anything set up other than turning the light on when I walk in the room. I wanted to find a solution that worked where it was as minimal maintenance as possible, both from like the app or like the way that it looks and dashboards and things like that, but also in a structure that is easy to maintain, because like you realize, it's very easy to have everything just everywhere and no sort of system, no sort of naming conventions.
You need to know that when you buy something new for your home automation, you know exactly where it's going to go. You haven't got to think about it.
Yeah. There's lots of entities you can create. You can create helpers, and I don't have a good enough understanding of what each one does and how they should be used, or even I've watched a lot of videos online about how other people structure it. And obviously a lot of it is purely just opinions, and at the end of the day, and that's how pretty much all frameworks, all languages and things like that were written and created, is somebody had an opinion on how something should be done and the best way to do it, and people said, yeah, that looks good. And then further down the line, people go, actually, there's a terrible way because it has these limitations, and they evolve and build a new version. So you had JavaScript, and then you had TypeScript, which is JavaScript but with typed variables, which makes sure that all your variables are what you define them to be, and it's just an extension. Doesn't, not to say JavaScript wasn't bad, but they just extended it and thought, actually, this is a better way to do it. And it's opinions. Some people say it's not the best, and you have different frameworks that people like or don't like. Same with phones. Some people said, yeah, that looks great on an iPhone. Some people were like, actually, iPhone looks terrible, I want to use Android. Just opinions at the end of the day.
So you haven't got any further on that?
No.
It's a time thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's lots of things that I want to do. I want to get it configured and set up to mainly be autonomous. That's the idea. I don't really want to have to go into my dashboard really ever. I have buttons around the flat that I want to be able to click on and it to be able to do stuff. Use the busy bar to display stuff without having to then check Home Assistant. I have a second, like a TV that I've made vertical, and the idea of that was to create a dashboard that I could pull in data from anywhere. So it could be from Stripe, it could be from my To-Do app, it could be from Home Assistant. So that's kind of a a step further outside of just Home Assistant, which is more like the home stuff. I wanted, to be able to look at a glance and see just the important information and things that update automatically. But it's a bigger task and it's a lot more work.
Thinking about it, most of my home automation is autonomous. I very rarely do anything in the dashboard. It's more informational, the dashboard for me. So, if something hasn't worked, I'll go and have a look at the log. Or if, I want to check on the power usage in the house for the last day or whatever, then that's information that I can go look at and I know where it's going to be. But just, as far as, pressing a button on the dashboard to turn the lights on or whatever, I don't do that. Again, it's either autonomous or I've set up a trigger, which is normally Alexa. And I can just ask Alexa to do whatever it is I need doing, and she'll do it for me, or she'll talk to Home Assistant and will do it for me.
Yeah.
And then we've got, my office and my storage room both have presence sensors, so that when I walk into the room, they know and turn the lights on. Yeah. That sort of thing is autonomous, and I don't have to manage it.
I mean, it's also just deciding what information is useful to be displayed, because I don't like a cluttered dashboard where it's like, cool, you can see all the information, but I don't care about most of it half the time, and things should only surface if it's relevant. So only show a little widget that says the dishwasher's running, for example, or whatever it is,
when the dishwasher's running,
rather than showing the state at all times. And also, just having different views of stuff. But it's organizing that to a way that isn't overwhelming.
Well, that is something I should be thinking about. So I'm sure we'll come back to this. Maybe this will give you the little push you need just to start on it at least.
Yeah.
That's everything from me today.
And me as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we are on YouTube. Please like, share and subscribe.
You can also go to our website thisweekwith.co.uk to find all of our past episodes.
And if you would prefer to listen to us instead of watch us, we are on all the major podcast platforms. Just do a search for This Week with Taylor and Gordon, and we're also on your smart speakers as well. We'll be back with you next week at 1 p.m. on Friday. Until then, my name's Gordon and I'm from Redesign.
And I'm Taylor from The Creative Tinker.
Goodbye.
Bye.